attack we're going to deal with today is a classic bully move. It's the chest push. Basically, somebody's going to walk up and push you in the chest and give you one of those shots. It's not an overly aggressive move, but it is relatively common. Basically somebody's going to walk up and initiate some aggression like that. So right off the bat, we're going to work on a response that builds towards several different ends. Okay, so we go ahead and push and really drive me back. That's it. Okay, that's the aggressive. And that the intent with this thing is to put some muscle into it, and it's actually going to help the application work better when you do it. The first skill in response to the chest push that we're going to work on is just simply getting offline. So somebody comes in and does that push, and all you're going to do is just move off to the side. Okay, so the next response is a little bit more aggressive. This is as if the attacker is putting more energy, and it seems like there's going to be more to come here. Okay, so the sweeping block, basically, rather than just getting offline like this, now I'm going to step offline at a 45-degree angle, and this hand's going to come up, and I'm basically going to use it and redirect the chest push. So that's the full sweeping block right there. So if he comes in for that push, okay, I'm here with the sweeping block. Okay, one more time. To there. Okay, so the next skill that we're going to work on is called hooking in. So it goes right with the sweeping block, and now we're going to practice grabbing on to the wrist and controlling the wrist. So when that chest push comes in, sweeping block, and I'm grabbing right in the neck of the wrist, okay, and pulling him off balance with it. Okay, so that's the hooking in skill. Come in, boom, to here, and I'm pulling them off balance. So that is another one of those skills where, if you think about this as the level of intensity, the level of energy comes up from the attack, you can start ramping up your response based off of what the other person is doing. The next skill that we're going to work on is a fall that you're going to need for the rest. That you're going to be using for part of this drill that we're going to work on. Basically, it's a version of the face fall where I take one foot, step it behind, and then fall down like this. So this is your hidden step face fall. Step it behind, and down you go. So one more time, hidden step face fall. So the next response to this, once you get that good hook on the arm, is you can up the level of aggression to a really high level. Especially if the situation warrants it, you could actually stand there and break the arm to here. Boom. Right here's the point. Levering down, nice and quick, break the arm. If I want to just take the person down to the ground, if the situation doesn't warrant that kind of that level of aggression, I can just do another hidden step and take him down like this. So this is your basic arm bar standing break takedown. One more time. So there's lots of different things that can happen once you get to that armbar phase. So he comes in and pushes. Okay, I get the hook, and now a common thing that happens is the arm doesn't really bend. He's going to fight it, okay? And that's fine. I'm just going to go with that motion. This next takedown is called the handle crank takedown. And basically what I do is I'm going to crank it like this and put him straight on the ground to here. So the handle crank, now I'm going to use my pressure on the elbow, and I can, I can basically do submission or do what I want now. But that's the handle crank takedown. Bring them straight down like that. another response that can happen from this is when the chest push comes in, we get to this point here, we can't get the arm bar here because he's pulling it in. He stands up, okay? I go with this motion again, and I'm grabbing my own wrist right through the hole. So this is called your figure 4 shoulder lock. And all I do from this point is take a hidden step, put him on the ground. I can pull him up like this, get a wrist lock, but I can pin him down like this and get the tap if I need to. So another thing we can do, turn him right around like that into the position I want to go. Next skill we're going to work on is a falling skill. It's a sacrifice fall. So we're going to break this down into pieces so that you guys can get it. We'll start here, and basically this is the basic falling position. I tuck my chin, and I'm going to use my left leg. I'm going to kick over and fall, just straight over like that. Once you get that, you can stand it up, drift forward, kick over, and do the fall. Notice how I fold my legs when I come down, and I can bring myself up in a protected position. Once you get that, you can start down on your knees again, tuck your chin, and stand it up, and drop it down like that, into a fall. Trying to get that arch of the back, and acting like a spring, absorbing all the force. Finally, what you can do when you master all of those levels of this fall is you can do it all in one motion, all in the air. I'm going to kick my hands, throw my feet through, tuck my chin, and land like that. And so that is your sacrifice fall. Next skill that we're going to practice is the back carry throw. It starts from referee's position, kazushi. So I bring him up over the toe, bringing this arm up high. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step in and bring my elbow right into his armpit. Bring him over, into the throat. The last aspect of this, this application we've been working on, chest push comes in. I get this, okay? He pulls it in towards his body. I flow with the motion. Okay, so now what he does is he's not going to let me throw him down, okay? So he tries to work his way around behind me. And what I do instead is I'm going to stick my hip out and do the back carry throw to here, into that lock. So I can put it down like that afterwards and hold him down like this. The section of the kata that we're working on is coming from Pinan, Nidan. You turn to look, fold the hands, step it out, heels together, and punch the particular section that this application uses. Brings the hand up, steps it back, turns all the way around into that three-part turn. So what this looks like with the application is when my uke comes in with that chest push, I come through, catch, and I go right into my front stance, and this gives me that downward motion, and it gives me the perfect position to do the technique. So that's the basic technique that we're using. All of the other stuff we're adding on, so those are the variations that you've been seeing as we've been adding on the different techniques. The sparring drills that we're going to use to work on some of these skills today is now we're going to add some more realistic energy into this push. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deliver an actual push, as if I'm actually going to push on his chest and he has to get out of the way. I'm not going to let him get that hook if possible, okay? So what this looks like is I'm going to come in like that, and he's going to get something to try and hook it. Maybe it's not the right technique, but we'll eventually work up to that. So if he comes in with a more realistic push, see, that's the thing, is that you're not necessarily always going to get the perfect technique, but you're working towards finding that hook, finding that motion. And then if you have problems with this, go back to the basics that we worked on earlier and try this again until we can make it work like that. The last sparring drill we're going to do is it's called the arm takedown drill. And so basically what happens is he's going to come in with a realistic push. I get it. Pull him down. As soon as he gets back up, and then good. So that. The points that we've been working on today, the ones that are really important for this application to work, you've got long 8 and hard 6. And those are the grab points. You're grabbing those and you're using that to pull somebody off balance. There's another point here that's important to know. If you can think about where the elbow joint is itself, you put your hand on it like this, and where my knuckles are, that's triple warmer 11. This is the spot, this is the hinge point that you're going to use when you're doing that armbar takedown, or if you need to break the elbow right here. This is also a rub point, and you can take somebody down simply by pushing on that point, and that causes a lot of pain. So those are your points. One more time. Long 8, hard 6, triple warmer 11. You find it just like that. Curling it in there. Boom. Right there. In karate, there's 3 ways of attack. They break it down in terms of being pushed, being pulled, and being struck. So when you're being pushed, it can be a strike, but it definitely is just a push, and that is coming in there. It's not as fast as what you would experience with a strike. When you're being pulled, someone has to grab onto you and pull you in some way. And so the kata will deal with those different kinds of attacks. And then obviously there's all different kinds of strikes that you can use in karate. This particular one is coming in with just a push, okay? And I'm turning myself offline, coming in with that sweeping block, grabbing the wrist. I can get that takedown and put them on the ground if I need to. So that is how all of this relates to this application. Joint lock flow is the next concept that I want you guys to think about. This is where all of the different joint locks, they can work together depending on what your partner is giving you in terms of their energy. So when my partner comes in and then does that chest push, I can go into this lock if I got it. But if I don't, if he bends his arm, I can go into the handle crank takedown. And if that doesn't work, he stands up, I can go into the figure 4 shoulder lock. And if I try to do that takedown, he goes behind me, then I can just turn that right into the throw. So the whole aspect that's really important about flow is that you don't ever want to try and force a joint lock. Go with what your partner is giving you and make sure that you can, put on a technique that's actually going to work.